Hi guys, my fellow comic geeks. How's everybody doing out there? Welcome to the first episode of Hitting the Classics on my comic channel. Yes, guys, Hitting the Classics used to be a part of Dark Avenger Inc. Plus, but like I said, I pretty much left the group and took what I was doing over there and brought it to various other places. And Hitting the Classics is where I bring what I'm gonna do here. As like I said, in hindsight of not being able to do the comic reviews in terms of the current stuff that's coming out right now at the moment. As you all know, I told you why. But I would hit you with the classics, go right through my collections, and just pull out various items. I said I always would be 10 to 12 books and various companies and just talk about them like doing a review again. It's a retro review. Okay? So I did exactly that. I pulled out 12 titles right here, which I'm going to show you. I have basically, we have 3 from Marvel, 3 crossovers, 1 from DC, 1 from Udon Comics, and 2 from Image. So we're going to start with Image, shall we? And this the first issue, the first title is from Image Comics, Solarlord. This bad boy here was a very interesting tale. First of all, it's written and drawn by Kufu Lung. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Very talented artist, very manga style. Image at the time, this is when Image was really into the manga feel and artwork. And that cover is just badass. I'm sorry about that glare. Basically, the story is about a man known as Nickerson who pretty much made a deal with the deity to help protect Earth from, believe it or not, Zeus. Yeah. And it's a countdown. In the beginning, we see it's a major countdown to the coming of Zeus. And this deity who has the humanoid body, but has his face is cloaked, but you can see it really looks like a lion or a tiger. And he comes to Nickerson, making sure that he is keeping his code of honor and his promise that he would help when the coming threats come. He will be able to protect Earth, and this is what he will become, Solarlord. But the first issue you don't get to see him as Solarlord, but this was a very interesting tale. I do plan on trying to find the rest of this series if I can. But the first issue was very intriguing to me when I first picked it up. I remember I really enjoyed it, and I was like, I love the manga-esque feel to it. I love the character of Nickerson, what he stood for, how he looked at life, and so it was really interesting. But I really enjoyed this very much. If you like, I'll show you a little bit of the artwork. The artwork was really impressive to me. Like I said, here's like some of the artwork I'll show you. Let me get like a really big, good standing of artwork so you can really get a good look at it. Alright, let me give you a big panel. Alright, it's like here you got like some of the artwork here. Big, beautiful artwork. This is Nickerson right here. I'll show you him. This is Nickerson. This is Nickerson right here. That's him. Sorry, right here. So it was very intriguing, very cool, very manga style, and like I said, Kufu Lun and his production team, they did the artwork and they wrote this. Uh, Zeus is like they said, he's been holding a grudge for 65 million years. Now it's payback time. So yeah, but Solarlord, very good from Image Comics. If you like, try to find it yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. But like I said, good classic from Image. Check it out. All right, so we move on another Image, more in the shadow line, but still Image. Jim Valentino's ShadowHawks, #1. I've always been a fan of ShadowHawks. Very classic character, very cool character. Basically, I would say the combination of what ShadowHawk is Naboo. So think Dr. Fate, Spawn a little bit, Batman, a couple of characters like that. The helmet here that he wears is connected to all the past wielders of the ShadowHawk helmet, and he can connect and he can talk to them and get guidance and things like that. So basically, the story is this is the newest. This was the latest ShadowHawk. After Lance Johnston died, a new ShadowHawk came in the form of Chris Collins. And Chris Collins is young. He's still in high school, so he's really trying to adjust to having this powerful weapon, and still trying to deal with school life and things like that. The first issue was let me make sure I get the writer was Jim Kelfliger, and artwork was done by Carlos Rodriguez. And here's some of the artwork. You see him in the ShadowHawk. I'll show you how, like, when he puts the helmet on, what it looks like. As you can see right here, when he takes it off, that's how the costume, like his armor, comes off and things like that. Fun tale. Like I said, his father knows about his life. It's not like he hides it from his father. They live in New York City. So, and he does make a Spider-Man reference in this. I'm not even joking about it. It's really fun. It's just sad that this character of Chris Collins, he died. He got nearly killed to death by Omega Spawn in Infinite Image Unite. It was a big crossover with all the Image characters versus Omega Spawn, who was Al Simmons' Spawn. He turned bad, but that never finished. But he was killed, and Lance Johnston, who was the previous wielder of ShadowHawk, came back, was resurrected back to replace him. But this was a fun series. I enjoyed it. I collected them all until his demise. So yeah, but yeah, good tale. If you do enjoy ShadowHawks, tell me about it. Alright, so we move on to Udon comics, and you hear Udon comics, you're going probably only a few things Chris is talking about with Udon comics. So and I give you no further ado, I give you Street Fighter Legends Sakura. This was the miniseries. The Street Fighter Legends miniseries was showcased. They showcased one Street Fighter character in particular. One Street Fighter character. They had Chun-Li. They had I think it was Cammy, but then they also had Sakura. And we get to see what's Sakura, her life is. What's her life like in the Street Fighter world? And beautiful cover, as you can see. Beautiful cover with Sakura, Dan, and you can see Dan here. Rainbow Mika, Hinata from rival schools, one of her good friends, and Zangief here. And in this issue, that's basically the whole thing. We get to see what Sakura does. She is supposed to be being trained by Dan, who she is completely better than, even though she still kind of calls him master. You see her hang out with her friend Hinata. They go to a wrestling match to watch Rainbow Mika. We get to see Sakura um, emailing Ryu, and Ryu's having a hard time emailing. He's like he's like computer, not computer savvy. And it's just a day in the life of how she deals with street fighting and then going to school and things like that. I'll show you a little bit of like how she deals with it. Um, the story by Ken Zui Chung was really good, and Omar Dagon did the artwork, and it was really good. But here you go. You see her training, supposedly training with Dan, and then you can just clearly see she just beating the crap out of Dan. And then you see her. She's late for school. Here she is. She's late for school. And she arrives on time, but but you can see like the life of her street fighting is taking it out of her at high school. She's passing out at gym class and things like that. And like I said, here's her talking to Ryu. It's really funny. But yeah, the Street Fighter Legends series was really cool. At the end of the issue, you see she's a big fan of wrestling as well, so she gets to see Rainbow Mika in wrestling. But then Zangief comes and he's like, let's see, he's like, he literally says, he's like, Rainbow Mika, I want the rematch, because I am Red Cyclone. No, I'm just but it was a fun issue. It's a fun 4-part. I'll probably review more of these, talk about these on Hitting the Classics. But it was fun. Very fun indeed. I always recommend people to pick up the Udon comics of Street Fighter. Get them in trade. Try to find them in single issues. They're real fun. So we move on to DC, and I thought it would be great to bring out a series that I really enjoyed when they first did it, and we're talking pre-52 here, not new 52. Batman Superman. This is number 53. Like I said, I'm not going in order, guys. I'm just pulling random titles out. Batman Superman 53 was really cool. I wasn't really fond of the artwork by Morales. I didn't really like the artwork too much, but Michael Green did a pretty good. Michael Green and Mike Johnson did a good job at plotting this out. The title of it is called Super Bat, because basically in the story, let me just show you some of the artwork. Here, you see, look at Clark. He looks old and pudgy and fat here, and then look at Bruce. Like, he looks really weird. But in the issue, Clark and Bruce are there. Bruce is doing his routine at a fundraising event, and Clark is showcasing it. He's the reporter on. Unfortunately, Silver Banshee is involved in this, and she battles the two. And somehow her cry somehow does major damage to Superman and Batman. And when they connect, she throws Batman into Superman. And from there, she does her Banshee cry again at them. And somehow it transfers Superman's powers into Batman. And we don't get to know it until later on in the issue. Superman's flying, and then he's losing flight. He's like, yo, what's going on? Batman is out with Robin, and I'll show you right now. He's starting to lose. He basically, as you can see here, Batman gets shot with a bazooka. Bam! And it hits him dead on, and Robin's like, Batman! Next thing you know, you know, I don't. That's Tim, guys. Tim's like, he's all discombobulated. He doesn't know what's going on, and all of a sudden, he looks up, cough, Batman, and you can just see holes in Batman. But then Superman, he since he fell and crashed, he still has his super strength in a sense. But next here's Batman telling Superman, we need to talk. It's like, bam. This is a very interesting tale. The second part to this was even better because, Batman, what's the one thing you would think, what's one villain Batman always has a hard time on? Bane. Yeah. And I'll talk about issue 54 another time as well, guys. But, you'll probably see it next time in the next issue. But, yeah. This was fun. I always dug this series. I really enjoyed the series pre-52 wise. I couldn't really get into the new 52 version, but pre-52 wise of Superman Batman is good stuff. Very much indeed. Alright, so next up, we're going to go with the crossovers. So we got one from DC and Image. The other two are from Top Cow and DC. So the first one I'll talk about is Grant Morrison, Justice League, WildC.A.T.S. I'm a big fan of the WildC.A.T.S. Always loved them. As you all know, my favorite WildC.A.T.S. has always been Grifter and Zealot. And the Justice League, this is the Justice League. This is Grant Morrison's Justice League. Kyle Rayner was Green Lantern, Flash, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman when he had his energy powers. Like I said before, guys, I'm probably the only guy on Earth that liked Superman when he had his energy powers. I thought it was different. I liked it. And Mr. Majestic is also in it. The Image's version of Superman. Basically, the character in this is called Apex, and he wants to destroy all worlds. And it takes the combined forces of the Justice League of America and the WildC.A.T.S to deal with this. It was really interesting in this because we get to see how the Justice League would match up in a sense with the WildC.A.T.S. Of course, it's a crossover, so you're gonna get basically the superhero motto. What's the superhero motto, guys? I don't know you, you don't know me, so let's fight. So we got to see Mr. Majestic and Superman fight, Wonder Woman and Zealot fight, Maul and Green Lantern fight, Void and Flash, not really fight, and Batman and Grifter fight. And it was almost like, if you look at it from a perspective of that, it was like, make the WildC.A.T.S inferior to Justice League. And that's the way it was. Not saying Zealot wouldn't lose to Wonder Woman, but it was just like, it could have been a little bit better. Superman just beats the crap out of Mr. Majestic. And Green Lantern just dominates Maul. And with Batman and Grifter takes his gun out and points it at Batman, and I'll show you right now. Let's see, where is it? Batman, like I said, here you got some of the fights between Maul and Green Lantern going at it. Kyle, you have Zealot and Wonder Woman fighting, the two warrior women fighting, and Wonder Woman does, she calls Zealot out on her. He's like, why don't you put your weapon down and fight me like a true warrior? And Zealot kind of takes that like, how dare you? And then after that, it's just, it's Batman takes out Maul, hits him with nerve shots. Here you got Here you got Grifter tries to pull out a, tries to put out a gun on him. Batman just takes it. I love what he says with what he says. He says, "Hell of a big mistake, Batman." He's like, "Here's your consolation prize. Ever make it and get?" And he's like, "You looking for this?" And it was like, it's pretty funny. But other than that, when they come together to fight, I said his name was Apex, just Epoch. Sorry about that. It was pretty good, and then they pretty much they go home. WildC.A.T.S artwork was pretty decent, and Grant Morrison, it's Grant Morrison, guys. Love him or hate him, he's a pretty decent writer. So, and I've always enjoyed Grant Morrison's Justice League run, but it was pretty good, very good. So, Justice League of America, JLA Wildcat crossover by DC and Image, pretty good. I miss stuff like this. I miss crossovers. I do. Alright. So, we move on to the next crossover. And pretty much that is Ron Marks, Tyler Kirkham's, Top Cow's Darkness, The Darkness, and Superman. #1. Love this. Basically, guys, what this is a gang war coming to Metropolis, and where there's gangs, there's the one is their hitman Jackie S. Badito, aka the Darkness. Now this kind of picks up right after the Darkness Batman one shot, where he tried to bring his to Gotham and he dealt with Batman. In this, Jackie is dealing with Superman. He hears tales of, he knows the stories. He's hearing stories about the guy Bulletproof Man. That's all they know about him. And organized crime is coming big time. We get to see more of a crime family, a crime war going on. And one of the crime families hires some big time help in the form of Corbin Tallow. And he deals with the Darkness. Kyle Kirkman's artwork is just really beautiful in this. I love it. Can't go wrong with classic look for Superman. Good stuff. But we get to see the two meet in this, and man, when they meet, Clark is like, "I don't want you in my city. Leave." And of course, when darkness comes, Jackie can use the darkness powers, and it's a little heavy. And they go at it for a little bit while before Corbin intervenes and uses his kryptonite on him, and even kidnaps Lois. And this is what also made this fun, is seeing Lois and Clark married, a couple. And I love her cup mug saying, I'm Superman's wife. Yeah, I'm the wife of Superman, or something like that. It was really fun. And then that leads to this issue where pretty much instead of this does happen, Corbin does, Jackie does set his Darklings on him, but after a while it doesn't. It ends. But they kind of help out. Jackie does kind of help Superman get back, get Lois back from Metallo and I'm forgetting the mafia gang that they're dealing with. We kind of see that Jackie's not really the bad guy. He's more of he just works for the bad guy. And he kind of tells that to Superman. He's like, "I'm not bad. I just work for bad people." But he does take out the bad guy in Metropolis, the crime lord that was in trouble. Jackie is a hitman, so he's like, yeah. But he does leave Metropolis, and it was a fun tale. I think Ron Marks did a great job on this, and like I said, Kirkham's artwork was beautiful. It was great, and you know, it was it once again. It just you miss stuff like this. You miss just crossovers between various various characters from different companies. I miss stuff like this, and I wish we saw more of that. I wish these these companies would just like put aside their differences and give us some crossovers and be fair to the characters. Showcase we can make both characters shine. This is a prime example of making both characters shine. So yeah, it is good stuff. So it was good stuff. Very good stuff. So we're gonna end this on some classic Marvel, guys. And the first one I wanted to talk about is the Slingers. You guys remember this title? The Slingers. Wait, this is way back in 1998. This is the first issue. With great power must come great responsibility. Slingers. Now, for all those who don't remember, there was a story arc in Amazing Spider-Man called Identity Crisis, and in that title, there was a hit out for Spider-Man, and Spidey couldn't be Spider-Man, but so he had a lot of his various superhero friends help him with various costumes. Hornet, Prodigy, Dusk, and if you can see right here, Ricochet. All these costumes some had different, but then most of them didn't. This was written by who wrote this again? I'm trying to remember who wrote this. This is written by Joseph Harris, and Chris Cross wrote this. This picks up right after the issue 0. Now it's kind of funny that I'm looking at this because when you look at this, only 3 of the members of the original Slingers are still around. Hornet died. He was killed by Wolverine when he was brainwashed by the Hand. But everybody else is still around. And this showcase all about Ricochet. So in this issue, we get to see it's more about Johnny Gallo. Johnny Gallo, who is Ricochet, and how he questions himself, or like he questions himself in terms of, because he talks to Hornet a lot. They're not really close with Prodigy here. Prodigy is this rich boy, but he's getting schooled in the art of superhero by one of the Golden Age heroes of the Black Marvel. He's still around. But Johnny Gallo is more like he's talking to Hornet, and he's more like, I don't know how am I able to do this. I've just been able to do this. I had this agility and this speed. I can jump really far, and I have this sort of danger sense that I warn myself of. And Hornet tells him, it's easy. It's easy, bro. It's an M. It starts with an M. And Johnny's more like, I don't want it to be an M. Now, for all of us who don't know, Ricochet is a mutant. He's a mutant. He's not, but he's really questioning, like, how is he able to do that? And we get to see that in this. And once Prodigy comes back in it, he does not like Prodigy a lot. And it's not like the Slingers started off good. They started off really heavy. And Dusk here, she died in issue 0, but she came back almost like with like a ghost in a sense. And she's always watching over Hornet and Ricochet. The thing about the Slingers, thing about the Slinger series, it didn't last very long. It was short-lived, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Spider-Man was in the series because he really wanted to know how were these individuals in these costumes, because he put away the costumes in safekeeping just in case, for safekeeping, and they disappeared. Somebody took them, and it was the Black Marvel. it was very, very interesting. As you can see here, here you go. The Black Marvel. There he is right here. He's very old, but we get to see more of it. But yeah, Slingers was just a very short-lived series. It was fun. I enjoyed it for what it was, and I do miss seeing some of these guys around. But they're still around. It's just you want to see them put in the spotlight again. And I think will be the perfect time to start using them again, Marvel. But it was fun. Short-lived, but it was fun. I think it only lasted 12 issues, but Slingers was fun. Fun issue. And we go to X-Men Unlimited #1. This was a fun issue. It was all about survival. Now, believe it or not, you won't believe this, guys, but trust me, this was written by Scott Lobdell and drawn by Chris Baccio. Now, I'm not a big Chris Baccio fan, but in this it was pretty fun. The gang, it mainly is about Storm. As you can see, Storm in her classic, Cyclops in his classic look. I've always loved Cyclops in this look, and Professor Xavier. They are coming from Kazar. They're visiting Kazar and Shauna in the Savage Land and things like that, and they are getting some vibranium from them. Remember, vibranium is not just in Wakanda, it's also in Antarctica. And they were getting some of it from Kazar. And when they're flying over the Arctic, somebody shoots them down, shoots the Blackbird down, and bam, they're knocked out. Storm is concussed. Cyclops, his visor gets damaged, so he's now like he's blind, like really blind. He can't really see where he's going. He's calling out for Storm. Professor Xavier's concussed. He's under rubble, things like that, and we get to see who is the one that is responsible for this. And it's a girl named Senina Blaze, and she wants to capture the X-Men and bring them back to the organization that they're a part of. And the title of this is called Follow the Leader. And once Professor Xavier is able to help Cyclops and be his eyes and things like that. But it is survival of the fittest. They're cold. The Blackbird is down, but they're able to get and unfortunately they're not able to get a signal out to the rest of the X-Men. But unfortunately, Psylocke and Bishop they're like, okay, they should have called in. So they pinpoint where their last location was, and they go to help. But the team deals with this character known as Senina Blaze and showcase, why the X-Men is such a good team, and they're able to deal with this powerful individual, even though they're outnumbered, but they're still able to deal with her. But this was the first issue of the X-Men Unlimited series. You remember this series when they had X-Men Unlimited and Spider-Man Unlimited? This was just a fun tale, and at this point, this is when Scott Lobdell, to me, used to write fun, and he, in a sense, I would say cared. But yeah, this is really good, very good. X-Men #1, and the last issue that I pulled out and I thought would be really cool to bring it up again is dun dun dun. Uncanny X-Men 350. The 350th issue of X-Men Unlimited. This was, remember how showcased and advertised this bad boy was? Yes, this was Gambit's greatest secrets revealed. You had Joe Mad did the artwork, and Steven Siegel did the writing. And this was all about all of the secrets of Gambit coming out. How he was responsible for, he was a little bit with the mutant massacre, everything. All his fellow X-Men got to hear all this. You know, Rogue hearing this, Angel hearing that he was kind of responsible for Angel getting his wings lobbed off during the massacre. All of this was just so heavy to the point a lot of the X-Men just couldn't believe hearing this. And I believe it was Archangel that had to he had to pretty much defend Gambit against the defense. But this was so heavy, so strong driven to the point, and it really lived up to, you know, Gambit's greatest secrets revealed, and some of his sins can never ever be forgiven. Yes. This was the 350 issue of Uncanny X-Men, and it lived up to the hype. It did. In my opinion, it lived up to the hype because what Rogue did to Gambit at the end of this, it was like, wow, Rogue, I can't believe, like, you did that. It took a lot of guts for you to do that. I don't know if I should spoil it for you if nobody's never read it, but yeah, man, oh my God, this was so heavy, and as you can see here, it had like a cover, you know, like the cover, they blow it up. But you know, you had, man, yeah, the X-Men that was in this. You had Gambit, Rogue, Joseph. Remember Joseph? Magneto's like clone. Psylocke, Archangel, Maggot, and Beast, and they're on trial, and they have to listen to this trial and just listen to all the secrets, from Gambit being connected to Mr. Sinister, to the mutant massacre he was kind of involved in. All of this strong driven storytelling. I always give Steven Seagle credit for this issue, and Joe Mad's artwork was always pretty good. But yeah, good stuff, guys. Alright, so there you have it, guys. The first issue of Hitting the Classics. Hope you enjoyed them, guys. I wonder, do you guys have any of these titles? And I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys next time on Hitting the Classics. And as always, this is Mom Vernon Kid saying peace and love. Stay tuned. Keep real, guys. Ta-ta for now. And take care.